Hello, folks. Well, I had a bit of a go at God again today, or Father, Dad, in the shower, yes. Well, and what I said was right. I said recently a chap came round with Christmas presents for me that I hadn't spoken to for about a few years. He was saying when I had the previous court case about the dogs, he said when I was trusting in God for both Mrs. B and getting the dogs back, he said, no, you should never trust in God for anything because God isn't real, but you won't get Mrs. B and you won't get your dogs. It doesn't work that way. And idiot me trusting in God for that. Okay. Somebody else, Colin, he had said to me about the place I live. He said, you're going to die in this bloody place. He said, God is never going to give you anywhere. He said, you need to go on the council. At that point, I had Molly, Chewy, Lucy, Amber and Riley, 5 dogs. The council said, too many dogs, you can't get a council place. Colin said, lie. Tell him you've only got 2. Bring the other 3 round to my place, move in, and then, after a week or 2, move the other 3 in. Council can't do anything about it, you're already in. I said, no, I can't lie. I can't lie to the council, that wouldn't be right. Yeah, I've got to trust God that God's going to do this. Right? That was 6 years ago. 6 years later, I've been trusting God to move me out of this place. If I'd have lied, I could have been out of here. If I hadn't trusted God for that situation with regards to Mrs. B and the dogs back, then, I wouldn't have had so many issues with that court case at all. So I trusted God in that. Well, God said, don't care. I trusted God in that. God said, don't care. I got this car. I thought it was a car that God had given me. Go back to the video. You can hear me speaking about all of that. The way things worked. It looked like it was a real blessing. Less than a year later, that car doesn't only fail its MOT, but it fails its MOT with so much. It's the worst MOT that car has gone through. The worst. There's so many issues with that car right now. It's bloody ridiculous. Right? It's like, oh, for goodness sake, really? Yeah, I mean, the stickers, so what? Really, when it comes down to it, so what? As I said, it was supposed to be an area of ministry. Well, to get chucked in the bin, I will never do it to another car. I'm never going to do that to another car. I've done it. Yeah, this was my effort to give that car back to God, and God said, don't care, scrap it. Yeah, if God says don't care, scrap it, then okay. Right. Okay. It will therefore be scrapped. It's highly annoying because this is the point. Yeah, sharing this stuff. Sharing the stuff by, going to the churchy things, the tea and coffee things, whatever else things, and, talking to people. Giving these beautiful things that God has given. Sticking it on the car, on the channel, and, yeah. And all that comes back is ugly shit all the time. It gets you to a point where you're thinking, why the heck am I even doing this? Why on earth? Okay. I learn from God, I'll keep it. If someone comes to me saying, can you tell me what God is doing in your life? Can you share with me? Then I share. Otherwise, sod off. Take a run and bloody jump. Because the reality is, every time I go and speak to someone and that person basically gets offended and says, no, I won't take any of this, thank you, bye. Yeah. They're just telling me again. They're telling me God doesn't give a shit. Now, is that the case? No. But the more you keep hearing that God doesn't give a shit, and the more you see all these things, so, oh, for goodness sake, come on. That's why on the 29th I was thinking, finally. And then what? Nothing. Just disappointment and more frustration. That's it. Just disappointment and more frustration. That's it. That's what it is. And it's a yeah. That's what I was to say. Doing videos and trying, dealing with comments. I say I don't mind generally speaking comments. But, folks, you've got to go to Father about it. You have to. That's the whole bloody point. Otherwise, what's the point of me doing videos? What's the point of me wasting my time doing all these videos? Sticking them on there, sharing what God has given, saying the whole point is relationship with Father. You've got to go to Father about all this stuff. Stop reacting with offence and then because you get yourself in trouble. What are people doing? Exactly that. In the comments as well. So what on earth? Come on. What is the point in me even bothering? As I say, the car, there was no point in me bothering the car. I should have just left it. I shouldn't have spent a penny on it. Yeah, it wouldn't have made a difference because I'm not thinking about money. It's not the money, because when money goes, money's gone. Couldn't care less about it. I'm not that sort of person that worries about money. So it's not from that point of view. It's just from the point of view of effort and belief and, believing and hoping that that's going to actually help people. To receive what God is saying right now. Clearly, probably not. No, just because it's going to be ripped off and thrown in the bin. That's what it looks like is going to happen now. Well, because as I say, for me, it's got to, at some point, come to a conclusion. The money can be there at any moment in time. One can do that at any time. But that's absolutely and totally up to him to do it. Yeah. If God is saying that he doesn't care about doing it, then okay. Yeah. There isn't really an awful lot I can do. And there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of point in me sharing what God is giving. If God is saying he doesn't really care about it being shared right now, he doesn't care about people seeing that. Okay. All right then. Well, as I say, if I'm trying to share with people and people are basically telling me to F off, and if they're saying, oh, all you're doing is trying to say that you're right and I'm wrong, yeah, well, think about what I'm saying. Go to God about it. Because if I'm right, you need it. Right? If I am right, then you need that. And if you can't argue better, that's your problem. If you don't know the word of God to a point where you can argue better, well, that's not my problem, that's yours. But it's all this, it's all that, really, that I just can't be asked. And also, as I say, going down to that church there, the pastor, as far as I'm aware of, and I think it's still the case, still hasn't told Mrs. B that she needs to deal with that. Not being able to face me because of what was said in the past. Deal with it. They're words. They're words. Now, okay, I fully understand. I've said before, I understand why she hasn't gone to God about it. Because you can't. If someone says that they believe that God said you're supposed to be their wife, how do you turn that to God? It's all very well if the person's wrong, right? What if the person's right? If God says, yes, that's true, what do you do? What do you do in that situation? It completely F's up your life, doesn't it? Really? Massively. What do you do with that? All you can do is say that can't be God. When you're in that situation, if you're churchy and you hear that, all you're going to say is that can't be God. So I understand totally how she hasn't gone to God about it. But the pastor is supposed to care about her well-being, about how she's dealing with things and how she's coping, about her mental and emotional health. Well, he's doing an absolutely shit job of that. I'm not trying to say that he should be someone who's caring about her spiritual welfare, because that's not really the job of pastors, so I'm not going to try and put that on him. That's the job of a teacher, which he is not. But he's not even taking care of those areas because, as I said before, in the current system that we have in church, and this is generally speaking in church, it's across the Baptist movement, Pentecostal movement, and I've come across it in churches before, in different areas and different types of churches. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, 30 years ago. Come across it. It's been going on for a long time. This is not a really only now thing. It's been going on for a while. Safe space Christianity. Well, actually, it's been in every church. Saying anything that challenges the way that the church wants people to think has always been counted as offensive. Always. And it's always been dealt with badly. Yeah, that brings up another point. I need to do a video about another subject later. About being offended, about offence, and where that really comes from. About what the Lord said about that. So, yeah. But as I say, in the end, look, we are where we are. We are indeed. But yeah, as I say, when I see all of this, I think, why on earth am I even bothering with these places? With these people? I've already tested them. I already know what they're of. I do. Well, I already know what they've been showing that they're of. That's true. There could very well be someone of God hiding amongst that lot. Yeah, who's not quite revealed yet. But it wouldn't surprise me if there isn't. Well, as I said, the reality is in many, many churches, you can find no one of God in them. That will be the case. Especially if you look at the way churches are now. So there you go. You take care. Bye-bye.